and that is the constant fight for self-discipline.
Okay.
Right? Now, what I mean by this is, I don't know if you've heard this quote. I really love this quote. It says, comfort is a drug. Once you get used to it, it becomes addictive, right? And it says, give a weak man good stimulation, good food, and cheap entertainment, and he will abandon all his ambitions easily, right? And that's what I mean by the fight for self-discipline, because I feel like we live in a society, we live in a system that has provided so much comfort, so much escapism, that it is a lot easier to just be happy and just have a good time than it is to actually do anything meaningful. I don't know. I don't know if that's something that you can relate to, or something that that you can speak to.
It's interesting because are we not all working to achieve a life where we can live in somewhat comfort without stress or struggles and whatnot? So, for example, if we take finances for example, yeah. You might have a certain figure that you want to be earning, like, let's say per year annually, that you've identified that will cater to everything that you need, right? To live a certain life. You may not be the richest person, but you won't be the poorest either. You'll be just fine. And in that comfortability, you'll be able to do whatever you need to do at that level. So, and again, if I mix that in with contentment, you know, and not wanting to be too greedy, one can aspire to get that comfort there. Now, in that comfort, now you might get people like, oh, every day or every week, you know, I watch some series and things like that, you know, because they've worked, basically they've made it where they want to be. I don't know if that's what you mean, but is that a bad thing? Because where I do agree with the statement is, this would speak to, I don't know if it's lazy people or whatnot, but it's almost a trap. And I think that's what you're speaking to, where I could be struggling. I could identify that, you know, A, B, C, D in my life still needs doing, still needs changing. But instead of actually being up on your feet, addressing those things, doing those things, you know, like me, you know, you are in bed watching series upon series, you know, eating some food, you are fine. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think that if those are the two that I've pulled up from your statement. So I guess my question would be, are they both the same, or can we differentiate them? Because I would want to, I would still say the first one that I've said is also based on comfort, but then does that mean there's lack of discipline in that one?
Well, I would say the difference is, in the first one, you're describing a result of something. So you're describing a result of hard work, a result of persistence, a result of perseverance. You're describing a lifestyle that you achieve off the back of your hard work.
Which allows me to indulge in certain things that, if I haven't done that yet, that would be seen as poison comfort.
Yes, but I also want to add it to say the beauty about hard work and perseverance and doing meaningful things is that it actually changes the way you value things in life. So what I mean by that is that, in essence, without going too far into it, what I mean is that any person that has worked hard to achieve a certain thing in their life, you realize that I want to put it properly so that I don't.
The process changes you. So by the time you've reached where you
changes you so much so that the things that you find quote unquote comfort in are not the same things that you find comfort in on this side before you've gone through it, right? So because you're describing, from what I understood you'd be saying, you're saying, oh no, but can I not work really hard so that I binge watch series all week? In essence, that's what you're saying. And my answer to that is yes, you can, but the beauty about processes, I don't know what it is. You listen to any successful person tell you, is that after you've worked very hard, you get to a point where you don't want to be sat down watching series the whole week because there are better things to do.
Is that a trap? Like,
no,
if I'm sitting here
beauty.
and seeing that, you know what, I want to set myself up where I can, let's say, for example, spend more time studying the Bible and not worrying about money. Yeah, that's ultimately my goal.
Yeah,
I need to make sure I'm financially stable so that I have more hours. Right now I'm studying, let's say, 10 hours a week. I want to be able to study comfortably 30 hours a week because that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to graft now so that 2 years from now, I'm able to achieve those 30 hours. So you are saying that once I've grafted, 2 years later, I won't see the importance of studying the Bible anymore.
Well, do you consider studying the Bible a comfort mechanism that you use to stop you from doing the hard things in life? I would argue no. Studying the Bible is people don't study the Bible as a comfort mechanism or as a get out of jail free card, as a way to distract yourself from doing the important things. No. I would argue studying the Bible is an end in itself. It's not a distraction. So I don't think that example is the greatest example because studying the Bible is an end in itself. It's not a comfort thing. It's not watching movies or watching series or reading a book or anything like that. No. So then, I mean, you're welcome to use a different example. So let's take series for example, right? Yes, what I'm saying is that if you work hard to achieve a life in which, let's say, for example, you have a week or, you have a week to watch as much series as you want. By the time you get to that position in life, you're not going to want to be sat down for a week watching series in your life.
And I'm not sure that's quite a good thing, to be fair.
Well, and do you know what? Anyone who hears that and thinks, well, I don't think that's what I want, that's fine. It's a matter of it's a matter of choice at the end of the day. But what I will say is that entertainment. Entertainment is the comfort, is the drug that robs men of their ambition and of their dreams.
I think
right
on this spectrum, I agree.
Yeah. So so the point is, yes, fair enough. I'm okay if your mentality in starting to do something meaningful, you say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna put in the work. I'm gonna do something meaningful with my life, so that, let's say, maybe in 2-3 years' time, I have all the time in the world that I want to sit down and watch movies. Fine, I'll say you do that. Fully knowing that when you get to the other side of 2 years, it's not even gonna be a no-brainer. You're gonna be like, why am I going to spend a week watching movies? No, I've got other things to do. Because you realize the joy that comes from doing meaningful things. The joy that comes from doing things that actually matter.
Okay, fine.
So
I'll accept that on the basis of if in those 2-3 years you've started enjoying other things. So now the joy or let's say the joy or the entertainment you were gaining from watching stuff, you then get that same entertainment from doing other stuff. For example, I know somebody who enjoys stock market stuff and whatnot. Like literally, they are not trading. They just either watch the market or whatever that is, or they just look into it, and they do that every single day after work. They can do that for like an hour or two. For them, that's their release sort of like mechanism, where someone might watch an episode of something to release and then back to work. So if we're saying that in that 2-3 years, the chances of you gaining interest elsewhere, most likely in things that someone can deem more important, because we can all agree watching series, movies is all trash, so maybe even something like reading books, but like books like personal development books or autobiographies or that kind of thing, then I agree with that 100%. We are evolving creatures, we're changing every day. So the way you are presenting it it's almost like if I'm sitting here and I'm saying that, you know what, I want a lifestyle where I can enjoy my series in peace. So therefore, I'm going to work hard, set up my businesses so that even overnight I'm making money. Therefore, if I want to watch series, I can bang a series or two comfortably without worrying. And then you're going to tell me that, well, I guarantee you by the end of this process, you're not going to want to watch series anymore. I may not want to go through that process.
Listen,
I'm doing that whole thing so I can watch a series or two.
But for someone like that, I'll say if watching series is more important to you than doing something meaningful in your life, then so be it.
No, but I think if you're saying that, you're missing the point. We all have reasons why we chase certain things.
No, but you told me that if you're telling me that if by the end of this process, I'm not going to have it in me to watch the series anymore. And because obviously you're thinking about that from this side of the process, and for you're thinking about how much you like the series, how much you want to watch the series. So if I'm saying that if for you that's more important than doing this work, because remember I'm focused on the work. I'm not focused on the afterwards.
I don't think you're meeting me yet. Let me give you an unfair example.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I want to work hard, be financially stable, so that my family doesn't have to suffer, so that my family are comfortable money, so that I can look after my family. And then you come to me and say that I guarantee you by the end of this process you would have lost your family. I'm not. You saw. I mean,
well,
that's the reason. The reason why I want to do something.
No.
You need to acknowledge
that's slightly different.
I appreciate you saying that. That's why I said that it's slightly an unfair example. But what I want to highlight to you is we all have reasons why we chase certain things. Yeah. At the beginning, some people want to be rich because they don't ever worry about money. Some people enjoy maybe setting up businesses or whatnot. It's a drive for them. Some people want to change the world. Some people want to leave a legacy. You know, some people want to spread a message. We all have certain reasons why we do what we do. And there might be some people that want to live a life less stressful. Now, that's why some people, once they've made it, or they've retired or whatever, maybe even before retirement, or some people retire early and then they will move to like hills or something, away from society. Yeah, they are not working obviously because the things still need to keep going, but the hours are less now so that they have more time to themselves.
Yes, yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that I'm identifying a certain person who wants to be able to have the time to enjoy certain things that they like, reading fictional books, for example, watching certain series and things like that. They want to be able to enjoy that, but they're realizing that right now they can't do that yet. So they need to put in the work, but their desire is comfortability, freedom, time to enjoy the things that maybe you might call useless. And then you're telling that person that, well, by the end of this thing, what you want, you're not even going to want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm saying...
You're saying what?
Why you need to spin that? You need to phrase that properly.
Why don't you need to spin it? It's a fact. Well, I'm gonna say it's a fact.
Don't you think that then you might remove the drive in that person for them to work hard?
My job is not to put drives in people.
But wouldn't you say your job is to safeguard the drive?
No.
Would it matter to you why somebody is doing something if they were doing it? So if you saw somebody, if you saw somebody, you acknowledge this is the hardworking person. Yeah, they've got the whole balance properly, but this is the hardworking person. Yeah, from their own look, you speak to them and they tell you the whole schedule and whatnot, and you're like, yo, you are hardworking. What's your goal? And they tell you that in about 5 years' time, I want to make sure that I can stop working or start working 2 days a week so that I have more time to myself, to do other stuff that I enjoy doing, that I love doing. Like, for example, creating music just for me, watching some series, going for a walk with the dog and whatnot. Are you going to be saying no to that person?
No, okay. And this way, it's not about me to be saying no or yes to what people do. People are going to do what people are going to do. What I'm stating, or no, not what I'm stating as if I'm a point of authority, but what I have recognized both in my life and in a few other people's lives, and I think it's true for a lot of men, in that comfort is robbing men of their drive to actually achieve something meaningful.
Agreed.
Right?
At the beginning, yes.
So then, to answer your question, the reasons why someone does something does matter. 100% they do matter. In fact, it's those reasons that will determine whether a certain outcome will be successful or not, or how much you put towards something. So I'll give you an example.
So in the example that I've used, the example of
So if I meet someone who is hardworking, who's put in the shift or whatever, and so you're telling me what's the reason? The reason is so that in essence retire early.
Yeah, in 5 years' time they want to retire so that they have more time to enjoy the things of life, for example.
Then, so what's your question? I don't understand what your question is.
What are you saying to that person? Because you are saying the reasons matter.
Yes. Yeah.
So their reason is, I want to retire at 40 so that I can enjoy the things of life. They tell you, I like watching series. I want to be watching a series. I like reading fictional books. You know, I want to be able to, I don't know, go to Africa and spend a month in Africa in the wild, in the nature.
Okay. I understand where we're going different ways, right? Because remember, the whole point I'm making is the trade-off that we make. In order for comfort, we trade off doing things that are meaningful.
Yes.
Or that have a purpose or that add value to our lives. We trade those off for cheap comforts, such as series, movies, porn, whatever it is, right? So that's the point I'm making. So if you're saying, I want to work hard so that I can spend the rest of my life doing something meaningful, that's great. That's exactly what I'm saying we should all be doing. Right? If you're saying, no, I want to work hard now so that I can spend the rest of my life doing non-meaningful things, then I'm not going to stop you from working hard. But what I'm going to tell you is that when you get to the other side, if you still have the desire to partake in these things, chances are you're not going to find any fulfillment in them. Because if once you find fulfillment in hard work, in doing meaningful things or whatnot, you're not going to want to spend your time doing
what if they don't find
things.
Fulfillment in their hard work, but they're doing it because they understand they have to do it? I have to graft. I have to build a business. It has to be successful. It has to make certain money. I don't enjoy it, but I know I have to do it. It's an obligation. So, I have to do it for the future that I want.
So again, I'm not going to stop anyone from working hard. However, I will let them know that their value foundation is off base.
And what does that do to them then? If their value foundation, in your opinion, is off base, what does that do to them? What's the implications of that for their journey?
Ultimately, they're not going to find happiness and contentment in life. And I imagine that's what we're all chasing. So this is the difference between having the right drive and the wrong drive, because both are drives, right? But you can have a drive that leads you further into unhappiness, or you can have a drive that leads you into contentment and fulfillment and whatnot. So both are drives, and I'm sure you've heard of things.
So who determines whether that's the right drive or the wrong drive? If I'm feeling to myself right now that I want to work hard, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna sacrifice 10. Let's say even 15 years of my life, so that I can set myself up, so that after that I'm just relaxing. Yeah, that's my drive. That's what I want. Yeah. How does that make it wrong if it's what I want?
So when you say sacrifice 15 of your 15 years of your life, what does that look like? Because I'll give you an example.
That looks like what you're saying. Hold on. That looks like what you're saying. That looks like the hard work that you're talking about. So that looks like the sacrifices, instead of out drinking with buddies or whatever, you are maybe at home reading or whatever. So that looks like the process you're talking about. Yeah. So I'm following the same process you're talking about, but the reason I'm taking on that process is so that I can relax at the end. What makes that? Who are you to say that? Well, that's the wrong drive. Or rather, why do you have to point out that it's the wrong drive? Why not just leave me? Because if you are saying that the process is going to automatically change me, which I've acknowledged that, yeah, it's possible that in that you start enjoying certain things, and the person that you were, let's say 10 years ago, is no longer the person that you are 10 years after. Why do you have to come and tell me that? Why do you have to say anything? Why not just leave me? I'm already on the process, so why not just leave me?
Because
what's the importance of you having to mention
tomorrow is not guaranteed, and we should try to live today being as happy and as fulfilled as we possibly can. And what I'm saying is, what's driving you will either determine whether you're coming from a place of lack, trying to fulfill yourself, or you're coming from a place of already being filled, trying to bring about your
So the example
expression.
I've given, where am I coming from?
I'll give you an example, from what you've said. Obviously, details would matter. I would have to know who the person is and what the situation is. So I'm gonna feed information into what you're saying. So for example, and this is a real and active one. So let's say, oh, you know what? I'm gonna sacrifice the next 5 years. I'm not gonna spend time with. I'm gonna spend less time with friends, less time with family, less time with whatever, because I need to build this business. And because after 5 years, once the business is built up, and if I sell it, then I'll have all the time in the world for my friends and my family and whatnot. I'm saying that's a terrible way to go about life, right? Because A, tomorrow is not guaranteed. B, that family that you want to spend time in 5 years, they're there right now. So you should be, don't get me wrong, do work hard, run your business, whatever, but that shouldn't be at the cost of your
But then
of your family. But this is what I'm saying, that it's but the drive matters, because if the drive is, okay, you know what, I want to spend a lot more time with my family than I currently do, right? Right now, I have to, for lack of a better word, let's say I have to fit my family around my other commitments. Yeah.
If even possible. Sometimes the commitments
no, it's always possible. Always possible. Give me, we can go down this road, but I'm sorry, it's always possible. I stand by that, and tell me an example where it's not. Give me a situation where it's not, and I will tell you exactly how it is. And this is one that I was having an argument with my wife.
I'll give you one. There's a particular person that I know. I think I told you about a time when I went to. I'm not going to mention the areas in case people go looking for her. But I picked up a certain lady, dropping her off somewhere, who is by herself in this country. Unfortunately, immigration status pending. Papers are the immigration, I think, at the Home Office. So they can't travel. And all they're doing right now is working. They're by themselves, alone in this country. All they can do is work. And they're working, hoping for either immigration status will come back positive, and then they can travel back to go see family back and forth, or save up enough, set up businesses and whatnot, and then just say, you know what, this thing has failed. Don't worry, Home Office, leave my papers. I'm going back home. You know. So right now they're in that situation where they don't have that time to feed around family. They are here isolated. You know.
But you've just told me their family is not here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not. So what's the struggle they're having that they can't find a solution for?
Rather, the desire is that they want to spend time with the family, but they can't, because they are stuck between. If I just say to the Home Office, fine, you know what, leave it, it's done, and go home, they have nothing to sustain themselves and the family at home.
Okay, let me answer that.
So they are sustaining the family from here, wanting to spend time with them, but they can't. So they have a time frame where at least they can try to, let me put something together in these 10 years or 7 years or whatever, then I'll go be with that family. But right now I haven't got that luxury, because even the family that's there is counting on me.
Okay, so I think that's slightly different, because that's not a situation where they're sacrificing time with their family to pursue other things.
One can argue because why can't they just pack their bags and go be where the family is?
But you've already told me why, because they're providing for the family.
Exactly. So that's the thing. They are choosing to provide than to go. So they are sacrificing family.
So from what you've told me, the only issue there is the Home Office status, because I'm guessing if that wasn't an issue, they would be working, making their money, and going back probably home as often as their money allows them to. Yeah. So the issue there is Home Office, something out of their hands, right? While that's pending, and I'm sure they still do. They probably have phone calls with the family, video meetings or whatever. So they can still maintain a relationship with the family to the best of their ability. Because remember, what I was arguing is this whole notion saying that, oh no, I can't. As in, oh no, it's out of my hands.
I want to agree with you.
So what I'm saying is, fair enough. In that situation, they've deemed that them staying here, working, is more important than them going back, right? Fair enough. But they have to realize that's a choice they've made.
We're talking about choices.
No.
These are all choices.
I'm just emphasizing. I know you know that, but I'm just emphasizing, because the reason I'm saying that, when I talk to a lot of people, especially in coaching context, They speak about life as if it's not choices. They speak about situations as if it's like, oh, this thing. And I always have to remind people, but you know, that's a choice you've made. Like you have to, and once
I get that.
Once we realize that, for me, I feel like it puts the power back in people's hands.
Do you not think that people? Because I was thinking about that as well. Often when people say that I have no choice, yeah. Do you not realize that people actually know that they have the choice, but instead I have no choice, they've actually made the tough choice.
You'd think so, but no. A lot of people, when they say I have no choice, in their psyche, they actually think this choice is the only choice they have, or where they're at. They actually think they have no choice. And sometimes it's just challenging that notion.
Can I ask you a question? Right? I want to phrase this because I understand what you're saying, and to be honest with you, I agree with you 100%. However, I think, let me speak for myself for this particular moment, that I'm perhaps too privileged that all my choices have always been doable choices. But I don't want to be naive to the fact that there are people out there, even amongst believers, that have had to make really, really difficult choices. Yeah, between two things.
But choices, nonetheless.
Choices,
That's
nonetheless.
my point.
Yes. No. That's the thing. But
but I'm not saying that making choices is easy. I'm not saying everybody will have an easy life.
But I think it would be very heartless of us not to acknowledge that some choices shouldn't be choices in the first place. So when well, again, I'm speaking hypothetically here.
Yeah.
But when people do say that, you know what, I had no choice, I think sometimes it's wise to acknowledge that, you know what, I understand what you mean, because that was indeed a
Give me the
choice.
most extreme example. Give me the most extreme example you can think of where someone would say, I have no choice.
Okay, fine. I've thought of one. And this might be practical, actually. Yeah. So let's say in Malawi, for example, let's say a family member is sick. Yeah. The family member is so sick, they could pass any moment.
Yeah.
We've gotten them to a hospital. They are being treated. They could be treated. I want to spend my time with them there, but the bill is rising. So instead of sitting there spending time with them, I need to go make sure that I'm still working, you know, or let's say I work out of town or something like that, you know. I need to go back. I need to continue working because I can't take a day off because I need to make sure that the family member is still being treated, right? Because that could potentially prolong their life, you know. But in my absence, they could pass. So I need to stay with them by their bedside, but I have no choice. I can't stay by their bedside because I need to go to work, because it's that same money that is paying for those bills that could potentially mean that this family member is going to be well again and out of the hospital. That's a tough choice to make. They have no choice but to go to work. Their desire is to be by their bedside.
Oh, okay.
Who's gonna? You say not really. Who's gonna pay for the bill if they stay?
Okay.
They
fair
can't
enough.
do both.
If the point you're making is that a tough choice? Yes, I guess it can be a tough choice. But my point, the point I was making to you is that it's always a choice.
Everything is always a choice. But if they say that, you know what, I have no choice, I need to go to work because if I don't go to work, I can't pay for this bill. Can we not sympathize with that?
Okay.
Can we not sympathize with the fact that you
no,
you can't really be teaching that person in that moment, yes, you have a choice. So that's where I'm coming from.
No. And this is what I'm saying, that a lot of your sentence end with, can we sympathize? And me saying, unless I say I don't sympathize with that situation, I have sympathy and empathy for a lot of situations. However, that doesn't cloud the fact of situations. So in that situation, I would talk about.
So what would be their choice then in that situation?
Well, they have two choices. It's either they stay by the bedside,
and then,
or like you said, they go to work. Now, in their psyche, in that situation, they've reasoned a couple of ways. They've thought, you know what, I want the care of this person in this hospital to carry on. The only way that it's going to carry on is if I keep paying the bill. How am I going to pay the bill? Is that I need to go to work, right? So in that situation, they've deemed that them working, getting the money to pay for this person in the hospital is more important in that situation than them staying by the bedside. Fine. That's the choice they've made. That's great. Is it tough? Well, while they're working, are they thinking, oh, okay, maybe they're calling hospital every 2 minutes? That's fine. That's okay. Terrible situation to be in, but it's a choice they've made. Someone else in that same situation will say, you know what, I don't care how high the bill goes. I'd rather I'll stay by their bedside. I'll wait for them to get ill. I'll wait for them to get better. And then afterwards, we'll figure it out.
2 days in, the hospital say, no. If we're going to continue treatment, you need to make a payment. Otherwise, you need to take them back home.
Yeah, fine. Maybe they'll start borrowing. Maybe they'll start considering loans or whatever. Again, I don't know. And this is not me trying to impose my decision making on people. I'm just simply looking at the situation as you've presented it, right? So that person, if let's say they were talking to me from a coaching point of view, and they say, oh no, but you know, Chin, I had no choice but to leave the bedside. I'll say, no, Bob. You had a choice. And the reason I'm saying that, I'm not ridiculing them. I'm not putting them down. I'm not trying to blame them for anything, but it's just trying to remind people and put the power back in their hands that no, the choice is always yours. Don't give your power away. The choice is always yours. You always have a choice to make the choice that you want to make. Consequences will follow whatever choice you make. And that's the point I was making. Making choice doesn't mean you're consequence free. Consequences will always follow whatever choice you make. But understand that so for example, if the person decides to stay by the bedside table, like you said, bill is gonna start rising. Or maybe the hospital will start hassling them. Maybe they'll
even chase them out. In America, I understand that they can't even start an operation until you've either your insurance goes through or you've made a payment. They'll just
with
be
some
watching
hospitals. I think I think it depends on whoever. America is a wild west when it comes to. Although,
but that's
no. Listen,
do you remember that guy that
it might work for them? I'm not sure.
The paramedic, yeah. There was a video of some guy in court, these social TV courts or whatever, and he was suing the paramedic that resuscitated him, even though he had a DNA on his chest. Because he was like, me, I was doing fine, they're dead.
Yeah, well,
and then you came and you go tell it, now I'm being slapped with this 40 grand hospital bill. And I have nowhere to pay.
The guy had a DNA. That's fair enough. It's like, you went against my wishes. But anyway, the point I was making, if I understand what you're saying correctly, is that you are right. There will be situations in life where we have to make really tough choices. But what I always say is about the psyche. You remember before when I was saying how you approach the situation determines whether you're free or you're enslaved. I'm not saying in that context. It's just the same mentality. To say how you approach a situation will determine how much power you take from the situation. Because it's either, okay, you know what? I'm in a tough situation. I have to make a tough choice here. Okay, let me think about it. This. Okay, fine. Based on this, I'll make this choice. Which is different to approaching a situation like you're the victim. Oh no, this is happening to me. Oh no, I have no choice. Oh, life happened to me. Oh, it takes you down two different mental states. Is my point, right? That's my point. And so yes, I don't know what I was saying, but the point I was saying is there is always
let's continue.
My point is that there's always a choice. Okay, so we're talking about comfort.
I think we should even move on to the next one now, because otherwise what happened last episode will happen again. But it's fine.
Okay, well, I mean, that was the second point. We went off on a bit of a tangent there, but you guys will let us know what you think about that point. And it was my point.
I think it's an important
one. It was my point.
I think what I'm trying to drive at, anyway, without going back, is just, we talk about men's mental health. And I think I've been thinking about this, and I think I've always bang on about this. The how you approach information with certain people can also depend whether you are reaching that person or you are making them rebellious basically, or resistance to your advice or change, for example. In the sense that that's why I was trying to bring in that aspect to say that it could be possible that these people know that they have choices. But when they say that I had no choice, they are simply acknowledging that what they did was perhaps hard or difficult, but that's the only thing they could do, because the alternative meant that maybe this particular family member may not do it. So they chose to do this because the alternative, they didn't like so if they are looking at both sides, if I do this, at least this could be A, B, C, D. If I do this, this would be A, B, C, D. So I think I should do this. So they might use that language, not necessarily in saying that, although I do appreciate that you're saying that most people use it in giving up power, but some people might use that language in just reaffirming themselves that it was a tough choice you had to make. You made a tough choice because the alternative was not goable, if that's a word, because that did not achieve what we wanted, So even though that was the nicer one, sitting by the bedside, singing Kumbaya, at least I got to say, and you might see this as well with some people, I never got to say goodbye because I was working. So they're trying to come to terms with that. You see what I mean? So I just think the approach of saying that, you know what, I appreciate you had to make a tough decision, because yes, you had to make sure the bills were still paying and whatnot. So that could have meant that you were with them by the bedside. That was a tough choice that you did. I just think that kind of line of conversation is more, can bring someone to be a bit more open, especially if we're talking about men, than slamming with, no, you had a choice. You had a choice. Although I do appreciate you've gone to explain it now, which is why I'm happy to move on. Okay, because before, as per usual, I'm sitting here and I'm seeing a cold ass look on someone's face. You had a choice, man. You kind of
yes,
but you've gone and explained that.
And well, anyway, the details we'll get in another time in a different discussion, I think. But yeah. I mean, it's actually surprising because for someone who isn't very emotionally whatever, you do seem to take a lot of you seem to take an emotional approach to things, which is fine.
No. Yeah. No,
which is fine.
I will accept that.
Which is good. But the thing is, you've leapfrogged over me a little bit because I take emotions into account, but my aim always, especially when I'm speaking to someone, is to bring emotion in alignment with reality. So yes, fair enough. You know, I can, but then this is the thing. The reason I agree with you is because in everything I'm saying, I never negate the fact that, you know, if it's a tough choice, you acknowledge it's a tough choice. You know, you acknowledge whatever someone's going through. All that is a given to me. So I guess maybe that's why I bypass and I get to the point, as opposed to try to lay down all the things.
I've seen a poor man sitting there and you having a go at him, and the poor man like crying the eyes out. I'm just like, yo, no. Bring the man to this level. I think, no, you are right. I'm not gonna reject that. You are right in the sense that I think emotions when they have to do with me, I'm a lot more like, I don't want that. But if I'm speaking on someone else's behalf, I want to make sure that we safeguard people's emotions, you know, in a way that there are certain preachers, for example, that will be calling people foxes and fools and stupid and whatnot. I don't think that's productive. I don't think that gets us where we want these men to be, unless if we don't care. Or not men in this conversation, let's say people in general. I feel like we need to be very, not tactical, but meaningful with how we address people and what we're trying to achieve. I don't believe in brrr, you know, if you do this, then you are a fool. Don't get me wrong. There will be contexts where you have to tell somebody maybe in black and white to wake them up even, you know, do you know that that's a fool, you know, that can be considered a foolish thing that you're doing, or I do believe those spaces are there. But in general, I am very sensitive to the language that we use to address people as a whole. It's become a thing of mine, to be honest. It's become a thing of mine. I'm a champion of safeguarding people's feelings. That is my battle. That is my activism. But yes.
Okay. All right. Fine. Well, let's go ahead and skip right to the last section then.
Oh no.
Because we have tarried a lot, and to be fair, we've tackled a lot of the things in conversation.
The problem is that you used to be a lot better at navigating me and my many thoughts. Now you get sucked in at the first thought that I blurt out.
Well,
let's talk about that for a second.
No.
I'm like, no, Chin.
No, because remember I've told you I'm not letting people get away with words anymore. So now if someone says something that I think, okay, fine, let's explore that, I'll take the time and say, okay,
but
fine.
Then I'm the worst person.
You've said this. Well, no.
But I will say big things purposely, knowing that you're gonna say, let's look into that.
Fine, we'll dissect, but I mean, in the information age, there's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff, and I think
100%.
so. One of our very loyal listeners always sends us like Instagram videos and stuff like that.
Actually, that's why I got the
the lady, because I saw that on there as well. Yeah, so she sends us a lot of videos and I watch them and we usually comment. But one of the most recent ones, because I think she sent like 5 or 6 and I hadn't had time to get to them. Eventually I got around, so I watched all of them one after another. I wish I hadn't done that because my blood
Your brain
boiling.
was not...
No, my blood was boiling from one to the next, from one to the next one. Because
and then you don't know what to address.
Exactly,
now you're like,
hello. But my point is, the point I made to her was to say that I feel like now, if you're a content creator online, I feel like you need to have like office hours where people can come and challenge some of the ideas you put out there. Because I feel like now, because behind the camera, anyone can say anything. And they just blah, 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 they post it. Even if you don't want to hear feedback, you just turn your comments off. And then now this idea you've put out into this world, And now somebody on the other side of the world is watching that, taking it on as gospel, adopting it in their life, and it's like, well, no, that's a stupid idea.
Mean?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
You know what I mean? Like, just a simple challenge and their day will fall to pieces. But if there is no that space, people won't have.
Especially if they've got traction. You look at the videos, 360,000 views, 20,000 comments.
Yeah.
People will be looking at, oh, these must be legit people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the comments are AI, whatever, but usually the first comments are in agreement with that. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And nobody gonna read all the way down to the bottom where
the actual people who are like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
So now you've seen the views. This must be a big station. There's one channel that I go to, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not gonna mention them on here just in case. But now, even if I see like a number of views at the bottom and I see their content and I hear what they're saying, I'm like, I'm not so sure about it, guys. I'm not. Now I'm like, is this even real? I once sat down and I saw a certain video they had posted, and the views were a lot and the comments were, and I'm like, are you telling me that people are actually consuming this content, and they actually like it?
Yeah. No, that's
like,
the thing.
I was doubting.
And that's what I was saying. I feel like people need to be held accountable for the words that they speak now. So I've started doing that a lot more. But okay, all right, ladies and gents. So what we're gonna do now, just to bring the episode to an end and this big question session to an end, I'm gonna read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we manage to get through all of them, we may not manage to get through all of them. 6 findings that have come out from a study in regards men and society nowadays. That presented as problems. So Offbeat POV are gonna try and offer some insight, maybe some solutions, or weigh in that if there is a man out there listening or going through this sort of things, what word of encouragement or
can we provide?
Yeah, can we provide? Okay. So then, all of these are conducted. All of these come from a survey called Future Men Survey that was released in 2022. We're going to link it down below if you like get into the weeds of stuff, and if you not read the whole study, feel free to do so. Okay, but the first one is 37% of young men feels society still expects them to be the breadwinner. What do you think about that?
37%
of young men feel as if society still expects them to be the breadwinner. Firstly, I guess, do you think that's a bad expectation? I guess it's a question to start with.
Speaking personally, and what I understand, what I believe, taking everything into consideration that we've discussed, but what I still continue to believe, that is the role a man should take first and foremost in a household, albeit in a healthy way. I'm thinking, what's wrong with that?
So as far as you're concerned, nothing wrong.
Okay. So 37. So okay, the expectation is that you're going to be a breadwinner in the household.
Well, yeah. Well, they feel as if society expects them to be the breadwinner. Yeah.
I don't know how to dissect that. So let me leave that for a second, and then you can tell me where I fit in with that statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I strongly still believe that men should aspire, or believe rather, that it is their responsibility to feed their household. Yeah. Now, in saying that, it doesn't mean that they need to try to earn more than their counterpart. It doesn't mean that if their counterpart earns more or brings more money, there's an issue. Nor does it mean that if in their dynamics, they've realized that the woman's job is more, bringing more, therefore the man can work less and tend more to the family. Nor does it mean that that's anything wrong. But as a man, as an expectation, I would encourage you that, yes, work hard, work in a way, have that mentality where you believe it's your responsibility to look after the family. How that can practically reflect can be different, can differ, but that should not be a stress point. That should not be pressuring. That should not be a bad thing. It should be a good thing that you're expected to be a breadwinner. So where do I fit with that? So that's what I think. That's why maybe I'm confused by that statistic.
Well, then from what you're saying, your response to the statement would be that young men shouldn't feel the expectation to be breadwinners.
Shouldn't feel.
Yeah, because in essence you're saying from what I understand you to be saying, you're saying no, you don't have to be the breadwinner. It is your responsibility to make sure your family are fed and cared for. And if that means that, you know, because of circumstances of life, if that means that the majority of money comes from your hotshot lawyer wife or something, then so be it. But as long as your family is fed and cared for, that's what you need to worry about.
And as long as you understand that's your responsibility.
Yeah. So to add on to what you're saying, so for example, if your partner's law firm gets busted for fraud because they're weird people and it goes under and your wife is jobless, it's my responsibility to make sure everybody's still being fed, still being cared for.
Even if it's on your small check, whatever. Even if you have to, I don't know if I can give you an example. Okay, let me give somebody else an example. Yeah. My understanding was that, you know, they married couple, working, let's say, relatively good jobs, making good money, right? The wife started finding the work environment and the work very stressful, you know, where she was working. Yeah, money was good, but it was not good for the for her mental health, not good for her social life, family life, a lot of stress, whatever. As a unit, I don't know if they spoke about it or whatnot, but I'm gonna assume they spoke about it. As a unit, she left that job, went to another job that was paying less, but much better hours, much better working environment. Obviously, every worker's got challenges, but a lot better from what she was working. And then, I don't know, with the plans that they have as the couple, the man ended up taking an extra job where he was adding to the hours that he was working in order for them to achieve what they need to achieve. Yeah, in my opinion, well done, man.
Sounds very similar to my experience, to be fair.
That's what I said. I was the issue, but yeah,
was that my experience?
Yes.
I use me as my own example.
I don't know how much you want to air out here, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. And in my opinion, I'm watching. I'm like, well, that's what it means to be a man. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. That yes, if they. It's fine for there to be an expectation for you to be the breadwinner, but we need to receive that in a healthy way. Is my point. Yeah, it shouldn't be a depressing point, a distressing point. It should be a yes point. Yes, as a man, I will.
Point of pride.
Point of pride.
And honor and
but
duty.
then how that translates is where I'm saying that it may vary because there ain't no point if I've married like you said, a hotshot lawyer. She's the partner at the firm. You know, she's dropping in millions by one case or whatever, bonuses and whatnot. And I'm working. Even let me say as the manager, but not making as much money. Ain't no point. Why am I competing with? Why am I trying to? You see what I mean? What am I doing? That is the height of folly. You see what I mean? I'll bring in that money the wife is making. With my money there, we will make decisions. And then should it happen, we won't have a family. She's expecting. She has to work less. I'll make sure our money is fine. Our money is tight. If I have to then take an extra job because she can't work, I will do that, you know, because it is my responsibility as a man to make sure women and children are fed in the household.
No, 100%. There's very little I would want to add to that. I would want to carry on a step further, actually, to say that I think a lot of trap men fall into, especially African men, is that they fall into this provider mentality where they think providing is just money. Or just make sure I'm giving money, I'm giving money.
Oh, yes.
And then the family actually falls apart.
Yes. So now you have a family that's wealthy, but you go into the house is not warm. The house is cold.
Honestly, and it's fresh to mind because it's something that I'm seeing a lot of. I'm really old, isn't it? Because my peers are men now. Whenever I say peers, I'm like, wait, it's the man I'm thinking about. But yeah, because I say all my peers who do get bogged down in this, oh no, but I have to provide. But then you speak to the wife and it's like, yeah, but I haven't seen them in like 6 days.
And if you ask them, they're like, I would rather we had a bit less money and more of him. Exactly. You see what I mean? Because there's more you need to do. So yeah.
Exactly. So just like your point to say that when I do agree about providing, protecting, but I think that aspect of providing is a lot bigger than just finances.
100%.
Because what you're providing your family is more than just
You
finances.
provide finances, you provide safety, you provide
security, assurance, spiritual guidance. So you provide
love.
You provide
love. You have to water the love in the household.
You that's when you say
and
men,
you need to balance it.
When we talk about men are providers, that's what we're talking about, and that's why I think before I was not arguing, but I was trying to dissect this whole provider because people tie to money. And I'm saying no, it's much bigger than that. It's much bigger than that.
I had a conversation with my girlfriend recently because obviously there are 2 hours ahead right now. Yeah. She wakes up before me. I'm waking up and there's no text on the phone saying good morning. I have to wake up 2 hours after when she's in the office. Good morning, babe. Then it's, oh, good morning. I'm like, you've been up for 2 hours.
No.
And if I don't send that text, so no good morning today. Then
well, you see.
You've been up. Sorry.
But no, but that's the thing. But it's little things like that it's like if you get too bogged down with the wrong things, you miss out on these little nuances that actually make that allow a house to be turned into a home by the woman. But you first need the house first.
Exactly.
Okie dokie. So the second one was 49% of adults believe that not being able to provide financially would cause a man to feel emasculated. I think we just touched on that. So I think that's absolutely fine. So next one, 51% of young men believe that society expects them to...
Sorry, can I just to mention something on that second one, just something quick. We've touched on it, but I think it's important to just highlight it again in the sense that is, for those that are feeling that pressure, that then becomes a problem because they do feel like, I can't pronounce that word, emasculated. So now that could be an issue with the partner, especially if they're the ones that are earning.
Yeah.
I think there's, going back to your courage, maturity, and from a point of love, there's a sense of maturity that needs to be demonstrated in that. You need to understand 100%. That we are talking about having that core in you and that drive in you to know that your household is your responsibility. If you are out of job for whatever reason, you are applying, you are going to interviews, and your wife is the one that is keeping the household financially, that's just one aspect. There are many other aspects you need to meet as a man. Yeah. And it's fine for her to do that. That doesn't have to make us feel like any less men. If you are lazy and a bum and you don't want to do anything, then yes, that should be a problem.
You should feel emasculated.
Exactly.
Because you need to...
Because now she's taking care of you.
Yeah.
You saw what I mean?
Yeah, I like that word. Yes. That's very good. Yes. Your wife should not be taking care of you. You should be taking care of your wife and your household. Yes. 100%. She can take care of you in other aspects. Maybe she can cook for you or whatever, give you a massage, whatever. But ultimately, in terms of, if we look at the macro scale, you should be taking care of your household.
I just wanted to touch that because I don't want people suddenly feeling like that, because that leads to problems.
Yes.
That leads to depression, anxiety, lack of discipline. Then we are out there shooting people or jumping off bridges. Yeah. So it's not healthy to feel that, but it's to understand I'm not working right now. It's fine. You know, we have a cousin actually at the moment. It's the wife that's making more, but he is studying. You know, he wants to be a barrister, a lawyer. I think he's on his last year of masters, whatever. Next year he's gonna be a barrister or a lawyer. I'm not sure whichever one. I don't even know the difference. But next year he's gonna be doing that. So right now the dynamics in the family, they understand. He works when he can, but he is studying all the time. This thing is not easy. He is reading, studying day in, day out, still having time with the family so that she's looked after. So he's still providing. It's just that the income at the moment is coming from a lot of it is coming from the wife. That's what I mean. That's what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about. Okay, the next one then. 51% of young men believe that society expects them to man up when faced with challenges.
I think we've discussed this quite a lot in the past episodes. So I would, if this is your first time tuning in, thank you very much. Finish watching this until the end, then go check our other videos because we've touched on it 100%. Talk about courage, for example.
Yes.
I do agree. You do need to man up, but we need to balance that with a healthy mental state. There's no point in manning up and then jumping off a bridge. We need to man up and continue to man up.
It's not manning up, is it?
Well, when it gets too much, you man up, it gets too much, and then you jump off a bridge. But yeah, so we need to man up and continue to man up and continue to man up. And in order to achieve that, we need to check our mental health as well. Find a release point, find a distressing point, even if that's speaking to a therapist, which if it works for you, it works for you. There's strength in seeking help when you need help. But 100%, man up. We can't have people running away from challenges. Life is tough.
I agree. No,
what did Rocky say? It's not about how many times you get hit. It's about how many times you get hit and keep coming back. So we need to keep going up, 100%. So
no, I'm 100%. I agree with that. Because like I said, they were presented as problems or challenges, which I can understand, I guess, if it's maybe communicated in an unhealthy way.
Exactly. That's the thing.
But no, 100%, I'll stand by that. Young men need to man up when they face challenges.
It's not going to be the first application that you'll be chosen for.
No.
Apply.
Man up. And that means perseverance. That means going through the tough stuff. That means, trudging it through, doing the hard work and whatnot. And I like what you said, balancing, not at the expense of your mental health. In fact, this manning up business should be strengthening your mental resolve and your mental health and everything. And in everything you're doing, you should feel as if you're moving forward and achieving something.
Every day is different.
100%, yes. No, men do need that one. I mean, it's a fact they've stated, but I don't think we take issue with that. I think men do need to man up a lot more so these days. Because we're being told not to man up.
We're being told to man down.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, fine. I think we've touched on this one as well. A third of men under 35 feel that struggling with mental health makes them less masculine.
We've touched on that. We've just finished touching on it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think one thing I do want to say about mental health is that I view mental health as physical health.
Yeah.
In that your body is as healthy as you allow it to be.
Yes.
So if I'm just eating fast food, eating crisp, drinking fizzy drinks, and spending the day on my sofa all day, I'm not going to be too surprised when I get diabetes or if my heart starts feeling a bit weird. However, if I'm staying active, eating healthy stuff, and looking after my body, chances are my body will be healthier. Likewise, it's with mental health. If you're just going back to earlier thing, if you're just letting everything go into your mind, you're not being choosy about what you consume and everything else. There's no guards, there's no system to what you're doing. You're just taking everything in. Don't be too surprised when you wake up and all of a sudden you have anxiety or depression or whatnot. However, if you look after it, take care of your mind, take care of your spirit, take care of your soul, a lot of these mental issues will be addressed. And obviously, I think we as believers, we're probably luckier than most in that, the Bible has a lot of things that curbs this sort of things. I didn't know about anxiety until I was like at uni. Maybe because it just
and you never felt anxiety. It's not like you go to uni and you're like, oh my days, I've been anxious all this time.
No. It's all, that's the thing that people struggle with. Okay.
So one can ask what was happening all those years. You were facing challenges. You were also doing exams. You also had to stay up all night.
Exactly.
You also had to worry about rent as a student, eating noodles. Yet you never felt like that. Why?
Because we just have a foundation that addresses all these things very well.
And if in doubt, we just remember, cast all your cares upon Jesus. You forget about them. God, you will feed me.
One minute you're worrying about them, the next minute you're like, oh no, let me cast my problems. The next minute you're waking up in the morning, like, oh, I fell asleep. That was a nice night.
So you make being religious sound very like a fantasy.
Well, I mean,
there must be non-believers listen right now going, see, I knew it. No, you people are deluded.
No,
it's delusion.
It definitely comes. It just depends how much you take on and how much you believe and how much you live out. But it definitely can be a fantasy-like existence, because it's so different from what the world considers normal.
Exactly.
Okay, but the last one, and this is a broad one, so you can say as you wish, is 29% of UK men feel forgotten or left behind by society. Sorry. 29% of UK men feel forgotten or left behind due to society's expectations of them. Which is a big statement to address, but what would you say? Obviously, if you have a young man, we have a lot of young men who probably feel like this nowadays. and let's say they're listening or they're talking to you or they reach out and they say, hey, you know what? I feel like I've been forgotten and left behind by society. What's your response?
I would say, let's call this a series. People like calling things series. Watch our masculinity series. That's about 3 episodes or 4, I believe. We've touched. This being the third one. It's 3, I think. This being the third one. Watch them with an open mind. What you're going to realize is the proper definition of what a man ought to be and the expectations of a man, and the fact that we need to embrace these expectations because it's what they make us who we are. Yeah. Now, if you find that any of the stuff that you are worried about from the society collide with any of the stuff that we've outlined in our conversations, then what I'm saying to you is that we need to embrace this. Don't let them beat you down. Embrace them. That's what you are meant to do. However, having said that, you also need to identify where you are in your life in regards to achieving this. Yeah. If we talk about, for example, let's say finances, you might be working at a company that's not paying you a lot at the moment. Maybe you've got debts you need to pay and so on and so forth. So you've got to identify that right now, this is where I am. Yeah. Set your goals, realize where you want to be, but do not let the fact that you're not earning at the amount that you should be earning or want to be earning right now bring you down. Use that as a springboard to get you where you are. Everything, and I think Chin, you've made this point even today. Everything is about a mental shift. Everything is about how you view it. Mm-hmm. Me not making money today can be, I'm not making money today. Or it can be, okay, I'm not making money today. This is the money I want to be making. So I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to do A, B, C, D, F, G so that I can keep making money, or so that by this time, hopefully I'm making a bit more money. So that's why I would say we've touched a lot, but I do believe we've addressed quite a lot of things that, especially if you are a believer and are going through, you're going to be freed. You know, one thing I love the Bible, the gospel, it's a free message. It frees 100%. You from certain things. So what we are after is, mental freedom from a lot of stuff that may be pressuring you. Spiritual freedom, it's not about paying tithe or doing this or doing that, So all these frees I've got 2 at the moment, but I'm sure there are more. All right. So once you've been freed in Jesus, it clears your mental, your mind to then allow you to build your own blocks. So be courageous, be mature, and do everything you're doing in love. You're going to find that there's nothing that the society is going to pressure you on. There's literally nothing. We embrace it. I may not be there yet, but we embrace it.
100%, 100%. And I would add to say that I think now is the time that we need to start hearing your voices or people's voices. So if there is anyone who feels like disillusioned by society, maybe you see what's happening in society, you're like, you know what, it doesn't resonate with me, it doesn't speak to me, then maybe it's time that you start adding to society or start adding to the conversation or start adding to the narrative, because history wasn't made by extraordinary people. History was made by ordinary people who decided to do brave things.
Exactly.
And in hindsight, we look back and we say, you know what, Rosa Parks was an extraordinary woman. Yeah, she was, but that's only because she decided to do something brave. So likewise,
she must have been terrified sitting on that bus on the wrong side, shaking in her boots, maybe even doubting herself. What am I doing? What am I doing?
And the thing is, who knows whether she knew how big of a statement what she was doing was. Maybe for her, she was just doing it for the sake of her children or for the sake of her family members, but it's something that resonated throughout generations. And likewise, if you're sitting here watching this in your room or in your bedroom or whatever, thinking, society has left me far behind, they don't represent my words or what I feel, that's fine. Great. Find a way to add to that narrative. I think we need more down-to-earth people in things like politics and in policy making and stuff like that. So 100%, who knows? Maybe your voice is a voice that's needed in the narrative. So whatever your skills are, whatever you find joy in, whatever you find passion in, whether it's video making or politics or art or writing books, whatever it is that God has given you or that your hands have found to do, use that as a way to give back to society or to contribute in society. As the saying goes, don't think about what society can do for you. Think about what you can do for society. So, for anyone who may be feeling as if they've been left behind by society, that's fine. Catch up. Add your voice in there. Get society singing from your hymn book.
I mean,
Make sure you know what you're
At the time of this recording, currently our views are averaging 10 views, 13, 14 views. But we're here putting in a shift still, putting in the hard work.
Add in the Offbeat POV.
Sorry?
Add in the Offbeat POV.
Add in the Offbeat POV?
Add in the Offbeat POV. Yes, the Offbeat point of view.
Oh.
The input A. Okay. And on that note,
I was blank.
We've been recording for so long, he's forgotten what he's doing here.
Honestly, I was like, what on earth?
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you got this far, I just want to say a massive thank you very much from Offbeat POV.
Really, really appreciate it.
We appreciate you taking your time out of your busy weeks to sit down and to listen to what we have to say here. But like we always say, what we say is not gospel. It's not final. It's not, you don't have to take anything we say. You can disagree with absolutely anything and everything. Just, we ask one thing. Let us know. If you do disagree, let us know what you disagree about and why, because we'll listen to it attentively. We'll take it on board. And listen, you could actually change some of the things that we've been saying here, because we're that type of show. We're not trying to sell anything.
We will clearly say, this is what we said. We've then since changed our mind because of at so and so and so and so.
Because we don't lose anything.
It just hasn't happened yet.
Because at the end of the day, we're here to discuss and to learn and to gain stuff. So we don't lose anything by saying, okay, you know what, we said this. In hindsight, we're now saying this.
100%.
So let us know. But in any case, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. We'll probably be on X soon as well. So if you're on there, just hang tight, follow us, and there'll be plenty of stuff coming on there
Rambo
soon. Thank you very much. Rambo as well. Yes, Rambo as well. But yeah, for today, ladies and gents, thank you very much. My name is Chin. He is Professor Nick. And this is Offbeat POV. Goodbye.